Hello everyone, so today I'll be making a really easy, super popular cocktail known as the Moscow Mule. You need just 3 ingredients and, well, you have 4 if you count ice, but you just need 3 ingredients and no fancy equipment, no shaker. In fact, I left all my bar tools at school because I'm back home for college. So today I'll be using a measuring cup and a spoon, a citrus press, and a knife. So the Moscow Mule is a super refreshing drink. It's the perfect combination when done right of a bite from ginger beer, tartness from lime, all balanced out by a shot of vodka. Now, due to its fame and also simplicity, it's a cocktail that any self-respecting cocktail bar or anyone who calls themselves a bartender should be able to make. Now, contrary to the name, the Moscow Mule was actually created in the 1940s in LA. What happened is there was a guy in a bar who owned a surplus of ginger beer who wanted to get rid of it. Another guy in a different bar had vodka. It was new to the US and wanted to start selling it. They teamed up together, added a little bit of lime, and the cocktail was born. Now, an added benefit of the Moscow Mule is due to its simplicity, it can be built directly in the glass you're going to be mixing it in. Traditionally, they're served in copper mugs. However, highball glasses are a good second choice alternative if you don't have that on hand. If you don't have either of those, any glassware works. I've even served them in plastic solo cups. But just today, for the tradition, I'm going to be serving it in a copper mug. The copper mug tradition is actually in part due to some clever marketing. Legend number 2 is that there was a woman whose dad owned a copper factory in Moscow, and she went around the US looking for some potential new buyers around the same time that these 2 men were creating their famous drink. The copper mugs became an iconic, eye-catching symbol that helped boost the popularity of the drink, and there you have it. For a more scientific explanation, copper is also a material with a really high thermal conductivity. This means that it transfers heat, and in this case cold, really well, keeping the drink at a nice, cool, frosty temperature. With that explanation in mind, in theory, any metal drinkware will do, as most metals are very good conductors. Also, some people claim, don't quote me on this, some people claim that using copper, it reacts with the vodka and the lime in the drink and enhances the aroma and the fizz and gives it a bit more characterful flavor. I'm going to start by taking my vodka and I'll measure out 2 ounces worth of it in my measuring cup. As a pro tip, you can throw your mug into the freezer and that'll give you a bit of extra chilliness in your drink. So add that to the mug. Half an ounce of lime juice, and I'm just going to add that straight into the glass. Now you'll get about 3/4 to 1 ounce of lime juice from a freshly squeezed lime. And always make sure that these limes are at room temperature to ensure you get the most juice out of it. You can use bottled lime juice if you prefer, however I always like to use freshly squeezed lime juice. It tastes a lot better and it's also cheaper. Plus you get the added benefit of having the rest of the lime to be used as a garnish on your drink. In fact, whenever I'm hosting, I always tell one of my friends to make themselves useful and squeeze the juice out of about 10 or 15 limes, because trust me, a lot of these drinks require limes. Anyways, now you're going to fill your drink up with some ice, and then you're going to top it up with ginger beer. I personally prefer to use a stronger ginger beer in my drinks. It really sets the difference between a Moscow Mule and a mediocre mule. My 2 favorite brands of ginger beer, and neither of them are sponsoring this video, are Q brand mixers and Fever Tree. They really have a good, clean flavor that raises and elevates such a simple drink into a sophisticated and elegant cocktail. I don't usually exactly measure out how much ginger beer I top it up with. I usually add about 3 to 4 ounces, but this is of course suited to your taste preferences. I give it a quick stir. And to finish off, I'm gonna cut a lime wedge and just drop it in the drink. And there you have it, a Moscow Mule. Cheers, thank you for watching.